Raj, you can start.
I can start. Okay. Yeah. Let me
Good
just take
afternoon,
out.
sir.
Good afternoon. Just let me just take out your DAF.
Yes.
So, Shivani, where did you study?
Uh, Sir, like my schooling has been in Haryana and graduation in Haryana and post graduation in PhD in Delhi.
Okay. Your schooling has been from Jean, huh?
Yes, sir. There is a village named Pandu Pindara there in district G. From there
Okay.
only.
Okay. And what is the school?
Sir, Sri Lajaram Basheshwar Das Gurukul Vidyapith.
Okay. In your 12th, you had 92%
Yes, sir.
with Hindi, English, political science, economics. Which one did you score the highest?
Sir, it was Sanskrit.
Okay. And that's why but you went on to do law.
Yes, sir.
Why didn't you choose to do Sanskrit, but you chose law after that?
Sir, actually, I had a plan to go for administration as my career. So at that
Hmm.
time, there used to be two optional subjects. So I
Hmm.
decided one to be Sanskrit literature and second one to be law. So for institutional studies, I decided law for the graduation and Sanskrit for the post graduation.
Okay, so you had decided that you choose two subjects, so that's why you prepared law. But does
Yes,
law interest you?
yes, sir.
Between Sanskrit and law, what interests you more?
Sir, it is a difficult choice. I feel the logics interest me more, which lie in the Sanskrit philosophy also, and which lie in this law also.
Logic.
Yes, sir.
How does logic fit into Sanskrit? Philosophy. I thought philosophy
Sir,
starts where logic ends.
uh, then it is about the definition of how I'm perceiving the logic to be. It is about the linguistic as well as analytical abilities when I'm using the term logic here.
Linguistic and analytical ability.
Yes, sir.
Okay. But what would you say to the statement that philosophy begins where logic ends?
Sir, probably I haven't heard of this term, but if
No,
I'm
you
to,
wouldn't have heard. I just thought of it just
yes,
now
sir.
when you said it.
Yes, sir. Sir, if I'm supposed to define this particular statement, it may mean that when we talk about philosophy and the Indian philosophy in particular, it talks about the metaphysics mainly. It talks about the theory of rebirth and the moksha, which we have not materialistically seen. So, in Indian philosophical sense, we may say that our logics pertain to be materialistic. Whatever we see, we tend to conceive it as true. But in philosophy, we have never seen the rebirth and we have never seen the moksha also.
So philosophy begins where logic ends.
Sir, in my opinion, logic is included in philosophy because the logics are also given in philosophy, and for every philosophical truth or philosophical statement, there is a logic behind. For example, if there is some belief in some philosophy, they have the logics in terms of evidences, which are called as nyayas in Indian philosophy.
Wonderful. Now, let, let me ask you a question. Just put yourself in the place of the interview board, and there's a candidate who comes to the board and says 12th, the overall percentage is 92%, and it's also mentioned that the state topper in 12th.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So, should the interview board ask the candidate with a doubt in mind as to 92% and topper doesn't seem to gel, or they shouldn't
Yes,
ask?
sir. Yeah, they should be asking it because generally we tend to think that 100% marks are there when we listen to the CBSE toppers.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, sir.
So,
So the
so
board should be asking.
Haryana is 92% topper.
Yes, sir. Sir, actually, I was topper in my category. It was private school category in the rural areas in my subjects, which was arts and these particular subjects. So there was category wise toppers. So there is no single topper in 12th because the marks and the schoolings are different. So they have different categories for the same, and I got the state board topper certificate in my category.
But that disclosure, do you think is required? When you
No,
mention
sir.
state
Like,
topper in 12th, should you stop there, or
yes,
should
sir.
you, in particularly if you're giving your resume for an interview, you need to
Yes,
give
sir.
some additional disclosure, as in this
Sir,
bracket in this particular category or whatever?
right, sir. Sir, I should be doing the same, but actually it was not a DAF, and in GPSC interview, we are not supposed to disclose our identity. So there is no DAF in
Acha, yeah,
GPSC.
I remember.
Yes, sir.
I remember I
But for
said this.
yes, sir. For the mock purpose, I just jot down the
Yeah,
few
yeah, yeah.
things, and that
Okay.
was not detailed.
Oh, right, right. So that actually I was told that DAF is not required. You're not supposed to disclose also who you are. That's
Yes,
the
sir.
weird part. So how do you prove who you are? You go for the
Sir,
interview
we are
and
supposed to tell them our code, and then we are supposed to introduce ourselves. So, through that introduction, we tend to tell them our educational background without mentioning the name of the institute or place, and we tend to tell them our hobbies as well as work experience, if any.
why is Gujarat following this procedure?
Sir, for looking more fair and transparent to candidates, that with due transparency, there is no kind of discrimination on the basis of reason, religion, caste, or identity with the candidates.
It's absence of transparency, I thought.
No, sir. They are already checking the forms and other things because the original documents are compulsory. So
Yeah.
at
But the
the
board does
class,
not know. But the
yes, sir.
board
The
does not
board
know.
doesn't know. Yes,
So
sir.
there is no transparency with the board.
Sir,
To ensure fairness, here is a case where transparency is given a go by.
no,
Normally,
sir.
fairness, okay, answer this question. Normally, fairness results from transparency. But I think this particular situation, there is an attempt to create fairness through lack of transparency with the board.
Okay, sir. Sir, generally we think that we are fair only when we have the information. But when it comes to the identities, we have certain cultural biases at the back of our mind due to our social and cultural upbringings. There may be a feeling of regionalism somewhere in our heart, despite being 100% unbiased. So to do away with that, interview panel has taken this particular decision that the transparency we consider that the candidate is telling us the educational background, but of course, and they tend to check the transparency and the truth of the candidate by asking cross questions on their educational background things to check whether the candidate is lying or not.
Uh, why do you think the board should not? Have you read this story by Munshi Premchand, Punch, something like that?
Panch
Panch
Parmeshwar.
Parmeshwara.
Panch Parmeshwar,
Yes,
have you
sir.
read that story?
Yes, sir. I have read that during my schooling.
Do you recollect anything? What is in the story?
Sir, there were two character names, Algu Jumman, and this was related to though they were friends earlier, and then there was some enmity, and then only one friend was supposed to judge something in that particular situation, and he
Hmm.
was fair at that particular time. But I don't remember exactly what were
Yeah.
the facts.
Yeah, but you're right. This is fundamentally this is a principle. So people rise up to the occasion. If they're given a responsibility, though they go beyond their biases and decide judiciously. That's what Munshi
Yes, sir.
Premchand wrote. But somehow
Yes, sir.
Gujarat Public Service Commission seems to believe otherwise.
No, sir, they don't have any doubts on their integrity, but there is philosophy that justice should also seem to be done. That for the candidates to believe it more, that the board is transparent, so they have made this particular criteria that you should not be disclosing your identity.
So Munshi Premchand got it wrong when he said this
No,
is
sir.
fine. If so, what if he's a friend? He will render justice, although might not seem to be done. So Munshi Premchand got it wrong. Do you think?
No, sir, he was also not wrong. Actually, we have many ideas, and each idea can be right. This is just what system we want to adopt for the majority. Like, it is about the greater good. and nothing is right. Everything can be right, and many things can be right, but it is not that one thing is wrong and the other way is also wrong. Because see, with every system, we can find certain loopholes. There cannot be 100% perfect right thing.
So it's things are, and the level within society keeps changing.
Yes, sir.
The level of trust within society keeps
Yes, sir.
changing with times, or
Yes, sir.
it's a downward spiral. Once the level of trust falls, it will continue to fall.
No, sir, it keeps changing with our policies and whatever culture or trends are going on in the society.
Okay, right. Wonderful, huh? I wish you all the best. You're really well prepared.
Thank you, sir.
Superb. You'll get it. I'm 100%
Thank you,
sure.
sir.
Viren, you can continue.
JK?
I must really appreciate Viren.
Yes.
Really, Shivani is very well prepared. Among the most well prepared candidates I'm doing a mock for.
Yeah.
Congratulations, Shivani. Wonderful.
Thanks.
Thank
Thanks
you.
a lot. Yeah. JK?
Shivani, just tell me, how do you see Veda and Avesta? How do you compare?
Good afternoon, sir. Sir,
Good afternoon.
like in regard to Avesta, my knowledge is a bit less, but I know that that's Parsi Granth, I guess, and both are considered to be the oldest and the holiest Granthas with the respective religions.
No, I'm not asking from religious point of view, but
Yes, sir.
chronologically, how do you conceive? Whether Veda is older or Avesta is older, whether uh, language-wise also, whether some similarity is there or there's any connection is there. Have you read that?
Sir, I don't know about Avesta much, so I can't answer this answer in a comparative mode.
Okay, but in Sanskrit, we are suppose it is one chapter where is there, but where we read about Veda also and Avesta also, how Veda is connected to Rig Veda particularly is connected to Avesta, but you should go through it. Now, tell me how Veda, Brahman, Aranyak, and Upanishad, how it has evolved.
Sir, the earliest one is Veda, Shruti and Smritis we consider. And later on, there were Brahmin Granthas, and the Aranyaks, which were written in the forest. And then later on, the Upanishads, also known as the Vedantas, because they were also considered as the end of the Vedas, in particular, the concluding remark, and they were the last, like Upanishads, in this particular chronology.
What is the content of Brahman?
Sir,
What is,
yes, sir. Sir,
tell me.
Brahmins were having certain rules and regulations in relation to Vedas. We may say that the further classifications and the further explanation of Vedas were given in this Brahmins.
Are you sure?
Yes,
What
sir,
about
because each Veda. Yes, sir.
what about
Sir,
Aranyak?
Aranyakas were also some rules and regulations related to society, but there was one specification is there in relation to Aranyakas, that the Shudras and women were not allowed to write or to see what was written in Aranyakas. So that's why these particular granthas were written by some people in the forest. That's how this name Aranyaka came into existence.
Tell me one thing. Have you heard about Brahma Sutra?
Yes, sir.
What is the content of Brahma Sutra?
Sir, I guess it is related to the Vedanta philosophy, but I don't know much about it as my specialization was in Palit Jyotisham.
Okay. Are you aware that there was any influence of Buddha on Shankaracharya?
Sir, actually, I think the connecting line is the Sankhya philosophy because the first Guru Alar Kalam of Buddha taught him regarding Sankhya philosophy, and Shankaracharya ji also had written a lot about Sankhya philosophy. So I find that if we want to conclude some similarities between the two, that is related to the main Sankhya sutras, the non-violence.
What Sankhya talks about? Sankhya philosophy, whether it is dualism or monotheism, what is there in Sankhya?
Sir, Sankhya has dualism of Purusha and Prakriti.
And what Buddha talks about?
Sir, Buddha says, talks about the middle mark, that there are a lot of dukkhas. Sankhya says the same, that there are a lot of dukkhas. And then Buddha says that we should be following the middle path to get rid of those particular dukkhas.
I'm not sure, but still, what Sankhya talks about is dualism, and
Sir,
Vedanta talks about Vedanta talks about one. What
yes,
is famous in Vedanta? What Sankhya talks about in Vedanta, particularly Aham Brahmasmi.
philosophy. Yes, sir. Sir, they don't believe in dualism. They say that even when they look two, they are one and same only. And Aham Brahmasmi means that the Jiva himself is Brahman. And that is the position which can be attained within. So Brahma is within Jiva. There are no two separate things. But Sankhya says there are two separate things. And the relationship comes into existence and we feel the pains and miseries. When we know that the both are different, then we get rid of this pains and miseries. But Shankaracharya says that the rid from pain or miseries, and the moksha, ultimate moksha lies when you get to know that you are the Jiva, you are the Brahma yourself.
Okay. Mm. Anyway, you have not studied philosophy. Darshan was not your specialization, no? Darshan was not your specialization. Khalit
Yes,
Jyotish
sir.
was your.
No, sir. Yes, sir.
Tell me something about Khalit Jyotish.
Sir, Falit Jyotisham is one of the three skandhas of Jyotish, and Falit
Mm.
Jyotish is mainly regarding the predictive astrology part. Earlier, the original purpose of Falit Jyotisham was to get the muhurtas right for the yagyas to be conducted. But later on, through the times, it got converted into the future telling also. So presently, we use Falit Jyotisham for two things: the panchangas for some muhurtas, and in our modern times we see these muhurtas for like graha pravesh. Some people do that, and for marriage dates also it is also used. And second, from astrology part, it is also used for future telling.
Okay. What is your optional in
Yes.
men's Sanskrit or law?
Sir, sir, in GPSC there are no optionals. For UPSC, it is Sanskrit language.
Okay, fine. Mm. Can you tell something about Gita and Vedanta?
Yes, sir. Sir, like if
How,
Gita gives, yes, sir.
tell me.
Gita gives us three practical margas, alternative ones to get rid of pains and miseries, to get rid of sufferings, and to attain the ultimate happiness. Those are Gyan Marg, and the third one is Bhakti Marg. Vedanta talks about Gyan Marg solely, but the knowledge here is that everything which is in existence is Maya, which is fake. The Vedanta calls the world fake and says the ultimate and only truth is Brahma itself, and Jiva is also Brahma. But in Gita, the existence of each and everything is also considered due to God. When Krishna says that there is no change without my permission, so it means that they also consider a bit similar philosophy, but there is change of like explanations, because Gita gives us practical things. It doesn't say that everything is fake. It says that everything lies in God. It comes from God and lies in God, and it is God's, Krishna's like consciousness and Krishna's uh, decisions that we are taken. But then also the people are free to do their particular marg also. You can achieve the ultimate good. So truth and what all is not. But Gita gives us practical margas also to reach that particular good.
Okay. Tell me about how Indian philosophy evolved from Nyaya to Sankhya to Vedanta. How do you see this progress, evolution?
Yes, sir. Sir, the Sankhya is considered the oldest school, and then the Yoga, and then we have this Nyaya Vaisheshik, and then we have Purva Mimamsa and Uttar Mimamsa. Uttar Mimamsa is known as Vedanta.
Hmm.
Afterwards, also there were sub schools of Vedanta.
So how it has evolved? Nyaya, what Nyaya talks about, how Sankhya talks about, and what Vedanta talks about. In Sankhya, we talk of
Okay, sir.
dualism, and
Sir,
Nyaya, what we talk.
yes, sir.
Tell me in that from that perspective.
Sir, in okay, sir. Sir, in Sankhya philosophy, we talk of dualism, and the whole 25 elements are discussed there. But in Yoga philosophy, one element which was missing in the Sankhya philosophy was added, and which was Ishvara. So both are considered as twins. Nyaya and Vaisheshik are also considered as twins in the sense that both talks about the elemental parts of the materialistic existence of world, the Panch Tattvas, and the logics there too. Nyaya is basically focusing about the logics, the Nyayas, and the Pramanas, and the this Vaisheshik philosophy basically talks about the Parmanuvad Siddhant. And then coming to the Purva Mimamsa is full of rituals and traditions, yagyas, etc. And then the Uttar Mimamsa was considered the Gyan part of.
Okay, can you relate this Aranyak with Purmimansa?
Yes, sir. Sir, Aranyakas were also having the rules and regulations in relation to the Vedas. For example, if Veda talks about some Yagya Karma, then Aranyakas would be giving the description how to how to perform that particular Yagya or how to perform the rituals there too. And Purumimamsa is also related to that thing only, like the Vidhi. Vidhi is there in Purumimamsa, and Vidhi here means that the instructions, the system of doing that particular yagya or any particular puja or performing any rituals.
Fine, fine. Tell something about poetics. Are you aware of poetics?
Sir, are you asking
Kavya
about
Shastra.
poetry in particular? Kavya Shastra. Okay.
Kavya Shastra.
Okay. Sir, I know that there are a lot of kavyas in Sanskrit, and there are certain different perspective schools of thought also regarding the kavyas, like kavya se atmadhani. There is one school, and the other school says kavya se atmariti. So it means that they try to define what actually a kavya is. What is the most important factor in a particular kavya in Sanskrit? Some says it is ras, vakyam rasatmakam kavyam, that one particular sentence is there, and if it is having rasa, then it is kavya. It means that if you feel pleasure in a poetry, that means that is a poetry. You don't feel pleasure or rasa in a particular prose thing, gadya. So that's how, so different things are there. Some say it is alankara, some say it is dhvani also.
How do you relate Kavya Shastra with Natya Shastra in Sanskrit
Okay.
literature?
Sir, in Natya Shastra, we tend to perform something. So in Kavya Shastra also, it is like, it is kind of performance, but through words solely. So in poetry, or you say in Kavya Shastra, there will be some particular poem, something written in poetics, and through those words, you will feel the story, you will feel the pleasure also. But in Natya, you perform it through your characters. So the ultimate goal of happiness or conveying the story is same, but one is written through words that can be spoken also, and one is performed through actings, and also music also in a natya, and you need poetry also in a natya, because you have the characters speaking something, so that can be rasatmak as well.
Good, very good. Now tell me something about Siddhanta comedy. How Sanskrit is most scientific language. Can you correlate with Siddhanta
Okay.
comedy?
Sir, in Siddhanta comedies, after the Sandhi starts, we have Pratyahar Sutras. So, Pratyahar Sutras are the most scientific thing we have, because in computers also we have coding. So, coding system means that we have certain codes which tells the computer to perform certain actions. So, that's how in Siddhanta Kaumudi Vyakarana we have the Pratyahar Sutras, which tell us a lot. For example, Ach Pratyahara is there. So it means through that simple code H, we tend to know that it is talking about many characters like A, I, U, Re, A, I, O, Au. These all characters can be defined in a single code, which is H solely. And further, sir, it contains sutras, a lot of sutras. Sutras are the shortest description of saying a difficult and explanatory thing. So that's how it is more scientific. Thirdly, sir, if I compare the language with English for now, for example, in English, certain words are there where we say that okay, this particular letter is silent while you are going to pronounce it, but there are no grammatical rules for that. These are just exceptions, and we need the vocabulary and we need the practice to learn the same. But in Sanskrit, if there is something like that, we have the sutras and then we have the vartikas also. We have the exceptions in the form of vartikas, but everything is written in Siddhanta Kaumudi. It is not just in practice that okay, you need to learn that it is silent. But there is no rule present in English. But in Sanskrit, you have each and every rule for everything.
But it is also said that Siddhant Kaumudi has stopped the evolution of Sanskrit as a public language, language of public, because it was so scientific, so codified that Sanskrit could not evolve as a public language. What do you say?
Sir, Siddhant Kaumudi was scientific and also easy to learn because of those pratyahars. What is difficult to learn is when you don't have any rules. But if you have a set of rules, that is easy to learn, that you know everything when you skim through those rules, firstly, sir. Sir, second thing is that Siddhant Kaumudi was a grammar. And after Siddhanta Kaumudi, there was Sar Siddhanta Kaumudi also, Lagu Siddhanta Kaumudi also. So we had more easy grammars for students, which was written later after the Siddhanta Kaumudi was written. And so thirdly, Siddhanta Kaumudi is just a grammar. After that, a lot of literature in Sanskrit have been there. And sir, fourth, regarding the public speaking thing, Sanskrit was, in earlier times also, Sanskrit was said to be spoken by some sort people. For example, it was considered the Raj Bhasha, Deva Bhasha, but normal people at that time also used to speak Prakrit and Pali. So this is how Sanskrit was earlier also not the language of public as we consider it in our history. So I don't find any correlation due to Siddhanta Kaumudi that people started speaking Sanskrit less due to that.
Okay, fine. So very good. I only suggest you to go through some from philosophical point of view also.
Yes.
Just brush up your this how Nyaya has evolved, Nyaya to Sank and that Vedanta. Just brush it more, brush up something more
Yes,
is
sir.
to be read. And Avesta
Yes.
also, this is a very general question because Sanskrit are my
Yes, sir.
also my optional. And this
Yes,
question
sir.
is repeatedly asked. What is the
Okay, sir.
relation between Vedanta and Avesta and Rig Veda, and how from linguistic point of view, mainly they ask from linguistic point of view, not philosophical or religious point of view. Mainly the
Right.
question is being asked is from linguistic point of view. So just go consult any good text, you will get to know. And the impact of Buddhism on Shankaracharya is very widely discussed. So that has also
Yes,
to
sir.
be read in detail. How,
Yes, sir.
in fact, when Brahma Sutta was being, Brahma Sutta commentary was written by Shankaracharya, ultimately in so many instances, impact of Buddhism is can be clearly seen and has been widely
Yes,
discussed
sir.
in so many Sanskrit literature. So you can also brush up that. And
Yes, sir.
Brahman, Aranyak, Upanishad, starting from Rig Veda, Brahman, Aranyak, Upanishad. So Aranyak, you can read more about it. Your
Yes.
exposition was not up to the mark which I expected from you. And Brahman
Yes, sir.
also, certain more has to be studied about. You just go through it. And
Yes, sir.
poetics also, they keep asking questions from in UPSC particularly because from they will ask questions from poetics also and Bharat Natyashastra also. They asked the same questions from me
Yes,
also when
sir.
I was appearing in the interview. These questions were asked.
Yes,
Phali
sir.
Jyotish, because I have also not read Phali Jyotish, so I'm not much aware of Phali Jyotish. So I was not prepared for that question also. But these things
Yes,
are
sir.
common questions. Kavyasastra, linguistics, Siddhant Kaumudi, Lagu Siddhant Kaumudi, and philosophical evolution from Nyaya, logic, Navvinaya, Nyaya, then Purmimansa, Uttarmimansa, and Sankhya also dually. In fact, what they tried to explain that from dualism ultimately it has come to monoism. So this way Indian philosophy has evolved. Many gods from Charvak to this Vedanta. So this
Yes,
evolution
sir.
should be particularly, you should be aware of this, how it has evolved. Ultimately, it
Yes,
goes
sir.
on to, and then in Vedanta also how Bhakti philosopher, how they have defined it, how Shankaracharya had defined it, how Maya has tried to explain the illusion by Maya, concept of Maya, and he has tried to explain this dualism of Sankhya, he has come to one Brahma. है ना? So
Yes, sir.
this should also to just go through it a bit more in detail.
Yes, sir.
But otherwise, your knowledge is perfect, excellent. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Archana? Archana?
हाँ. Hello, Shivani.
Sorry.
Hello,
How are
ma'am.
you
Good
today?
afternoon, ma'am.
Okay,
I'm
so I
good,
was
ma'am.
quite,
How are you?
yeah, I'm fine. I was quite intrigued by your biodata. What attracted you to Sanskrit? Can you
Was the
hear
main
me?
reason for that. I have parents. Yes, ma'am, I can hear
Oh,
you. Not
okay,
so
okay.
properly, but I can hear you. Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, due to my childhood upbringing, there was a lot of things. I was born and brought up at a pilgrimage site, so that was the first reason. Secondly, my parents were involved in this field only, so that's how I got a childhood inclination towards the subject.
So there is one district or a town or something in India where only Sanskrit is spoken and everything is being done in Sanskrit. Can you elaborate
Yes,
on that
ma'am.
a little?
Yes, ma'am. Mettur village, Shimoga, Karnataka is there.
Okay, so what created that ecosystem that it happened that way?
Ma'am, some people who are involved in the founding of Sanskrit Bharati also. So there was some persons involved in this mission of Sanskrit for all. So they started it with by from their village only, and that's how it started from there. And then this organization Sanskrit Bharati is spread worldwide and in all across India also. In almost every state, they have their shakha to teach spoken Sanskrit. That's how it started and grown.
And do you think the children who are studying there in schools, they are well equipped to face the world by doing everything only in Sanskrit?
Ma'am, like when the dealings with the world is concerned, then we need to learn that particular language in which more or less the dealings are there. But when we comes to the skill set, when we comes to the literature, Sanskrit has a lot to teach them in terms of the skill, language, and some career related things. But later on, if they choose to do something else, they also need to learn some other languages also for dealings.
Okay, so what are the provisions regarding mother tongue in the new education policy? And
Ma'am,
what are
there is this
your
three
views on
language.
that?
Ma'am, there was the talks about three language formula also, and the primary education have been made compulsory in mother tongue only, which is very good because, during childhood only, even in a particular family, there might be a case that the mothers don't know that language, which is taught to the children. So, if children are taught in their mother language only, firstly, ma'am, there will be less burden on children. Secondly, if the children are learning something, their parents can also assess the same, and then there can be two-way learning, one from school and other from the family also. There cannot be two-way things that in a school they are learning something else, and if the parents or the family or the nearby neighborhood environment doesn't know that particular language, then their learning are stopped. They can't go and express that they have learned a particular thing, and then they are like the vicinity and the premises of learning are limited if the otherwise thing was there. So I feel this is a good idea, ma'am.
And what are the other major innovations in the new education, national education policy of 2020?
Yes, ma'am. There have been many changes in the course curriculum, particularly. Like earlier, we had this 10+2 system. Now it has also been changed into three tier system. And ma'am, like 9 to 12th has been made one only. So if you want to go for a particular like profession, or you want to be skilled, so you are well equipped at the ninth class only for that particular thing. And ma'am, thereafter also regarding college, some multidisciplinary things are also allowed now. You can have dual degrees also altogether. So the children have more and more options to learn as per their diverse interest. They can be diversely skilled also for the newer market. For example, a particular person having his or her interest in a particular language can also be well equipped in some sciences also altogether. Otherwise, earlier the schools were different and limited. The scope was limited also. Ma'am, thirdly, some durations are also changed. For example, MPhil has been done away, and PhD course in the upcoming times. And then for B.Ed, this teaching curriculum also, there are two, three options. Like if you do B.Ed after post graduation, then it is of 1 year solely, and if you want to do it along with graduation, then there is a 4 years course. Then there is new credit system also. For example, earlier if you are going to a particular school, and especially women used to face this a lot during graduation, they used to get married and then their studies was stopped. But now we have this option that even if you have studied for 1 semester only at a particular college, then that credit will be counted in your newer course, and in some other university you can begin with the second semester solely, not like your 6 months or 1 year is wasted.
Okay, Shivani. Right. Okay, I would like to hear which is your favorite shlok from the Gita and why.
Okay,
And
ma'am.
can you recite it
Ma'am,
also?
okay, ma'am, please give me a few seconds to
Sure,
just
sure,
recollect the
sure.
shloka. Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, there is a shloka, na jayate mriyate va kadachin, na ayam bhutva bhavita va na bhuya, na hanyate hanya mane sharire. I'm forgetting one phrase of it, ma'am, but this is the shloka. I like this is about ma'am soul. This is about Atma, that this soul never dies. This soul cannot be torn. This cannot be this cannot be like drawn in water also. So that's how they say that just like soul is having a permanent existence, so we must not be feeling sorrow whenever some body dies, because the body only dies and soul remains forever only.
There's another one with the same meaning.
Ma'am, there are two shlokas, and they are regular only, and the whole set of two shlokas have this whole meaning, ma'am.
Nainam Chindanti Shastrani.
Yes, ma'am. Nainam chindanti shastrani, nainam dahati pavakaha, na chainam na klaidantyaapo, na shoshiyati marutaha.
And which Sanskrit books you think which have not yet been translated in Hindi should be translated? And what
Um,
benefit would it give?
I have not much idea regarding translations because most of the books have already been translated. But I feel the newer books, the newer literature of Sanskrit are yet to be translated. And secondly, ma'am, in case of Dharam Shastras, it is not in Sanskrit, but it is something related to Sanskrit. Some British officer was there, and I guess I don't know. I'm forgetting the name, ma'am. He has made a repository of the Dharam Shastra books. So that repository is available in English solely, and that if can be translated in Hindi, because the Sanskrit translation work is already going on, ma'am. For that, if that can also be translated in Hindi, that will help majority of population to understand the field of ancient legal system more.
Okay, can you tell us something about the gift city in Gujarat and whether it is a success or a failure according to you?
Ma'am, I feel it is a success because due to Gift City, we got many foreign offices and the headquarters of many foreign offices and many foreign institutions and foreign organization, foreign banks also. We have the headquarters at Gift City. So this increases the MICE tourism of Gujarat as well. And also because of those particular steps, there was some changes in the ease of doing business. And that's how Gujarat also got the highest, largest FDI across all Indian states last year.
So has it become a tax haven now?
No, ma'am. Like to comment on this, ma'am, I must be having a few more facts in that regard, which I feel I'm lacking.
Okay. And what about the semiconductor business that has come into Gujarat recently? Tell us something about that.
Ma'am, yes, ma'am. Earlier, ma'am, there was an MOU between like India and this Foxconn company. Ma'am, but that MOU with the Vedantas and Foxconn, but they called it off, and later on, the Gujarat government is in some conversation with that same company only to have some semiconductor chip first industry in Gujarat. It was discussed in Dholera earlier, ma'am. But the conversations are still going on. Nothing has been finalized yet.
Okay, G20 is the most talk about subject in recent times. So, what is the
Sure.
biggest achievement that India got out of it, and what was the biggest challenge that India faced?
Okay. Ma'am, I would like to start with the first challenge, which was of having a
No, I
consensus
am
because,
asking only the biggest challenge and the biggest achievement. One only, one each.
okay, yes, ma'am. Ma'am, biggest challenge was to get the consensus for the New Delhi Declaration, which we got. And I would say the biggest achievement is the inclusion of African Union, ma'am.
Which was not on the cards when we began with, though.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Jan Vishwas Bill, are you aware of what it is?
Ma'am, I have heard about it, but I don't know its specifications, ma'am.
Okay, so that was the latest bill which was put up in July, in fact. So
Okay, ma'am.
you can read up a little on that. It's about ease of
Yes, ma'am.
living and doing business, which you just talked about. So
Okay,
that's
ma'am.
all from my side, Shivani. My suggestions I'm giving right now because I need to leave. First is when you
Yes, ma'am.
talked about MEP, you said it has become a three-tier structure. It has become 4 acts, 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4. So you can read
Okay, ma'am.
a little bit on that. And I agree with Rajgopal. You are one of the best candidates that we have interviewed till now. So
Thank you, ma'am.
one thing that I noted is that the things that you are very sure of and you are confident that you are answering correctly, your speed enhances. You speak very fast,
Okay,
and when you are not sure, you go very slow. So kindly, I think Ojaji will guide you better whether it's better to maintain a regular tone, not a hurried one and a slower one.
Yeah, we are
yes,
working
ma'am.
on that. Archana, we are working on that. You got the exact thing. We are
Okay.
working out and since last so many days, and you've seen a bit very improved version right now. Initially, it was very fast to speak.
Okay. Okay. Thank you so
Right?
much.
Thank you, Archana. Yeah,
Thank you, ma'am.
Shivani, have you heard about Yavan Jatak?
Yes, sir.
What is a Yavan Jatak?
Sir, in Phali Jyotisham, we had certain contributions from Yavana philosophy also, which is considered as the Yavana and Muslim community. They are Jyotish, and at that time, Varahamir and other some other writers were there involved in this. And there was some Neelkant Acharya in our Phali Jyotish who brought some ideas from the Yavana Jataka in the Indian astrology.
It is being said that the Hellenistic astronomy, this is a transmission of the Hellenistic astronomical concept in India. What is this?
Sorry, sir, I'm not aware about it.
Who is the first astrologer in
Sir,
India?
Aryabhatta is considered the first astrologer in terms of the astronomy, and he also wrote about some astrology things also. But we consider Varahamihir as the main acharya.
Can you say something about the Brahmagupta? What is his contribution?
Sir, Brahmagupta was related to some mathematical contributions, sir, but I'm not able to recall the exact things.
What is Sulu Sutra?
Sir, Shulva Sutra was related to the surgical things. It was related to the thread-based surgeries.
Are you sure? It is
Yes,
not
sir.
the
I'll
Indian
recheck it
method
if
method.
it is not. Sir,
Can you give some
surgery
of the
and
ideas? Yeah. What is Shul? Just try to recollect it.
okay,
Shul
sir,
means
some
measurement.
geometrical patterns it was related to.
Yes, yes. Then why are you saying the surgery?
Sir,
What is
I
Ghantika?
thought it was those measurements were. Yes, sir.
Then why it is called surgery? Why you said surgery?
Sir, I thought that was used to. I'm mistaken. I'll check the same, sir.
What is the Ganita Shastra?
Sir, Ganita Shastra is related to the astronomical calculations and it is one part of Jyotish Tri Skandha also.
Can you say something the ancient knowledge of India which you have seen in the Sanskrit literature? Ancient
Yes,
mathematical
sir.
and the
Yes, sir.
medical
Rasa
knowledge? Yeah.
Shastra. Yes, sir. Ras Shastra, the chemistry thing, the value of pi and zero, and the that the Earth is in spherical shape. Those all scientific things we found by Aryabhatta, Varahamihir, and other acharyas, Bhaskaracharya also in our ancient systems.
Do you know about the common civil code?
Yes, sir.
What is common civil code?
Sir, Common Civil Code, or we also call it Uniform Civil Code, also given under Article 44 DPSPs of our Constitution. It talks about having a uniform personal law, irrespective of the religion, caste, creed, or gender, for all the citizens of India.
Why certain sections in the Hindu society is opposing it?
Sir, some people may fear that the uniformity of civil code may render the interference of state or say government in the personal lives and personal beliefs of some people. That's why there is some hesitations. But rather it is a particular thing to do away with the personal laws based discrimination. So through UCC, we are going to do away with those sort of discrimination against women or against some caste. And also it is just a particular step to make legislature based particular uniform laws for unlegislated laws also.
Which section is opposing this uniform civil code?
Sir, I don't know if there is a particular community. There are many people from different communities who don't feel that UCC is a good idea.
Your topic of the research is the constitutional morality.
Yes, sir.
What is this?
Sir, constitutional morality in simple terms is whatever constitution says, we want to implement that in the letter and spirits.
Is it a constitutional morality?
Yes, sir. The ideas of constitution, in the practical sense, if they are applied, are related to constitutional morality, which lies in the ideas of our nation being the sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic, and then we talk about the fraternity, equality, justice. These all ideals are the part of our constitutional morality.
Idea of the constitution, constitutional morality, both are the same.
Sir, pardon?
Idea of the constitution, which you just said, and the constitutional morality, both are the same thing.
Yes, sir. Sir, a constitution is a document, a law of the land, but whatever symbols or whatever ideas and notions it perceives are the part of constitutional morality. So one is a document and one is the spirit of that particular document.
What is document? What is the spirit?
Sir, if I talk about that constitution is a document, then what our law of the land aspires for it aspires for the fraternity of our people, the equality provided by the state, the justice and freedoms provided by the state. These all ideas are our constitutional morality, our aspirations and spirits.
You are a marriageable age. Which type of the life partner do you want?
Sir,
What's your
I
desire
want,
for your life partner?
sir, a good human being, firstly. And I guess that's the only thing which I would be more focusing upon. The other things like the person is of any other profession, that's doable. But that the person should be a good human being.
How you came to know the person is good human being? Suppose it's an arranged marriage. Your father has
Yes, sir.
seen some of the boy. You will go and meet him. How you came to know that he is a good human being?
Sir, through conversations and like in an interview also, our personality is judged through certain conversations and through certain questionnaires and through some kind of investigation. We generally tend to know how a particular person is in an arranged marriage generally. And sir, if my personal beliefs are to be regarded also, I would like to see the horoscope of the person concerned.
You will decide that a person is good human being is via horoscope.
No, sir. Via horoscope, I would like to check the compatibility of both of us, because the being a good human being also doesn't mean that two persons are compatible. For those compatibility, we need to talk, and before even the decision of marriage, people need to talk and converse about their aspirations, goals, and what kind of person and the choices they are having.
How you came to know via horoscope the person is compatible to you?
Sir, like this is in regard to my personal belief solely, because I have practically experienced it. So I would like to see the choices. Like I already know about my horoscope and my choices. I would like to see his also. And then the guna system is there for the compatibility check in predictive astrology. There are 36 gunas into that regard, and there must be 19 or so for a good marriage.
If the gunas are not going to meet, then the marriage is not good.
No, sir, that's not the case. We need to delve more deeper into astrology, and then also that's just a part of it. That's not the whole truth. That's not 100% true. We need to check the other things also. But I think if there are certain issues and certain doubts in common conversations, then also there can be a second backup for the makeup of a mind that okay, both the factors are going in the wrong direction. Then we may decide that this is not the right thing to do.
It is being said that astrologer should not see his or her horoscope. Then why you are going to
Yes, sir.
decide? Then why you are going to see your horoscope? You are flouting the rule of the astrology.
Sir, generally it is said that we are not supposed to check that because we contain certain biases also in that regard. But by checking the horoscope doesn't only mean that I'll be checking it only on my own. I may get some consultations also.
Thank you. Sure.
Thank you.
Sure.
Sir, sir. Just a minute. Yes. Shivani, I was hearing
Good
your
afternoon, sir.
replies. Good afternoon. I was hearing your replies. In reply to one of the questions, you said that Yavana Jataka has something to do with the Muslims, isn't it? And the knowledge system brought in by them and all. What is the timing of or dating of Yavana Jataka according to you?
Sorry, sir, I don't recall the exact chronology now.
It's around 120 BC.
Okay, sir.
Okay. And Islam itself was founded when?
Okay, later on. Yes, sir.
So that is something you need to see. Okay. Yavana does not mean in that sense. Yavana does not mean Muslims. Yavana means
Okay,
people from that particular region, that words. Okay, that direction. So you'll come to realize Greeks and all that it's a
yes,
regional reference, not religional reference. Okay.
yes,
Number one. Number
yes, sir.
two,
I've read about this. Yes, sir.
the 36 Guna Milan in horoscope astrology. On which planet is it based?
Sir, on different planetary systems, it talks about the basic panchang of a particular person. Like it checks about the Rashi and the Rashi Lord also. So whatever
Exactly.
Rashis and Rashi Lords we are having,
Absolutely
and
right.
then yes, sir.
So Rashi means what? Based on which planet? Rashi is
Sir,
decided.
when sir Moon, the placement of
Moon.
Moon.
Yes. What about other planets? How they are posited in a horoscope? Is there a system at the time of deciding marriages? to
Yes,
account
sir.
for
We
other
have
functions?
the Yes, sir. We have the Yoni system also. We have Varna, Vaishya, this type. So those are coming from the overall horoscopes only. And sir, not only this 36 guna system, horoscopes are also meshed. That's the
Have
case
you
that
heard
we have
about this
certain.
thing? Yeah. Have you heard about Nadi Milan?
Sir, I have heard about it, but I don't know its
Adi Nadi,
specifications.
Madhya Nadi, Ant
Yes,
Nadi?
sir. Yes, sir. Nadi is there in 36 gunas. Nadi and then Bhakuta. And
Exactly.
Nadi is
And it has
considered
the
related
highest
to health.
weighting. If I am not
Yes, sir.
mistaken, it has a weighting of
Yes, sir.
8
It has
points.
eight points, sir. Yes, sir.
And what is the fundamental basis of Nadi? Planets or nakshatra?
The nakshatra, I guess.
Absolutely right. Okay, it depends upon which charan and which pada is the Jataka born, isn't it? That's how
Yes,
it is.
sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, so can we say that this particular example of Indian astrology, the matchmaking thing, that is actually a brilliant example of how the Indic system has blended the nakshatra system of astrology and the planetary astrology?
Yes, sir. Because astrology is all about having the astronomy calculation and the relation of astronomy to the persons, human beings.
Right. So there is a, if you have, of course, you must have studied this has been your favorite topic. So when it comes to Phalit Jyotish, horoscope astrology is the fundamental point of this particular domain, isn't it? But there
Yes.
is a scholarly view, which is a widely held scholarly view, that actually this particular thing is a Greek import to India because it does not find reference in our ancient texts, or there is no reference almost anywhere. It starts when
Yes.
India established knowledge exchange system with the Greeks and all, when Alexander came and this and that. What is your
Yes.
personal or individual take on that? How much you agree with this view that this horoscope astrology, specifically horoscope thing, that is actually a
Yes,
Greek
sir.
import from you? What's your view?
Okay. Sir, we call it Vedic astrology. It means that it is having certain references in Vedas in terms of the planets and the godas. Because we talk about the nine planets in our astrology, they found the reference in our mythology also, and in
That's
some
perfectly
Vedas
all.
and
But
Yagyas also.
nine planets are not the basis of horoscope astrology. It is the 12 bhavas,
Yes,
12
sir.
rashis, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Do the rashis find any mention whatsoever in Vedic astrology?
Sir, in Vedic astrology, Rashis are there, but in Vedas, I don't remember the exact example
Exactly.
to
That is
cite.
the
But
basis of the doubt that has been raised. Okay, you need to prepare. Just have a look at that. How to
yes,
defend it.
sir.
If it is defendable, how to defend.
Sir,
Okay, fine.
sir, can I say that, like in Yajurveda, Yagyas are discussed, and in Yagyas, we have this Navgraha Puja involved already. Because during those Yagyas, we have Panch Mahayagya, and out of those Panch Mahayagyas, and we have some other
Don't
sort
worry,
of
don't worry.
yagya.
You are absolutely on the right track. I'll get back to you. Don't worry. I'll tell you how to defend it. Okay, let's first just complete
Yes,
the question summarily. Have you heard about the term Prasthanatrayi?
yes, sir.
What is it? Prasthanatrayi.
Sir, it was related. The three books are considered a part of Prasthantrayi, and it was all three are related to moksha basically. Gita, Vedanta, and I'm not, sir. I'm not able to recall the third one.
Brahma Sutra? Did you want to say Brahma Sutra?
Okay, sir. I'm forgetting it actually. I need to recheck to be sure.
So what's so great about them? Why have been they collectively named so?
Sir,
Do they have any
because
significance?
all three in short are talking about the ultimate moksha and the right way to attain that prasthan, the prasthan of the jiva, this prasthan of the moksha, like the soul to attain the moksha. So these three were considered the part of this
Did
prasthan
this
trai.
term have any role in deciding how qualified the scholars are in ancient times?
Yes, sir. It was also used for the same because at that particular time, some scholars used some terms to define all the scholars. Like Kavi Kulguru was the Upadi or Upma Kalidasasya was the Upadi for Kalidasa, and that's how there was Prasthantrai, Brihatrai. This way bifurcation was there, sir.
You will not be considered as a scholar before whom one should bow down unless you have written a tika on the Prasthana tree, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
You
Yes, sir.
recollect
That's
now?
true.
Yes,
Yes,
that's
sir.
true. Okay. Tell me a renowned Sanskrit scholar from Gujarat.
Okay. Sir, sorry, sir. I'm yet to check it. I'm not able to recall any.
Yes. I'm giving you just the dimensions where from the questions can come. Okay. Have you, if you know Gujarat even slightly well, what cultural difference do you think there is between Saurashtra and the rest of the Gujarat?
Okay. Sir, in Saurashtra part, some Sindhi language is more focused than the other dialects. So in other dialects, the Sanskrit and Abhransha is the one who is influencing the modern Gujarati dialects. But there, the influence of Sindhi is there. And in Saurashtra region also, there is a scarcity of water. Due to that particular difference, the geography has focused like has some impact on the culture also. So they have some other cultural events than the rest of Gujarat. And sir, in Saurashtra, due to the bordering coastal area, they have this coastal culture also, if I'm not wrong.
Saurashtra, how Saurashtra, the term Saurashtra is different from Kathiawar.
Sorry, sir, I'm not aware for now.
No problem. No problem. Have you heard about Gir National Park?
Yes, sir.
How do you think it became a success story for conservation of Asiatic land? What are the most important things that made it a success story?
Sir, I don't know what exact administrative steps have been taken. I just know that the Asiatic lions have been conserved there, and they are still in existence, and we are the only country to safeguard the Asiatic lions all across the world.
And Gujarat is the only state, so
Yes, sir. Gujarat is the only
that
state.
makes it necessary for you to study it well
Yes, sir.
because that is
I'll check.
and
Yes,
on the entire globe it is a success story to be imitated by others, isn't it?
yes,
You
sir.
to first you get to know about the success story. Second, you should also know about what are the problems in relocation of lion population to Madhya Pradesh. It has been a huge
Yes, sir.
controversy between two states, so you should be very well aware of it. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay. We go to tell me one well acknowledged contribution of Indian philosophy to material sciences.
Okay, sir. Uh, sir, if I talk about Sankhya in particular, it has Pratyasarga. Pratyasarga means how mind acts. So it has a relation with the psychology, modern psychology of today, if we delve deeper into that field.
All right, fine. I think you should find out more examples. For example, Navya Nyaya. I was
Yes, sir.
reading a month ago also. Navya Nyaya is said to be
Yes, sir.
on the same ideological or say ideational lines, which has ultimately led to this computing. Okay, the modern computing as it is called.
Okay. Okay.
So
Yes,
this is
sir.
very important. Navya Nyaya has certain ideas.
So, sir, Mimamsa has this Parmanuvad and the atomic
That is
structures
there.
we
That is
discussed
there.
today.
Navya Nyaya has a very good logical foundation. The logic
Yes.
works there also. So that you
Yes, sir.
should, I
Inductive
think.
and deductive reasoning.
Exactly. So that you must have heard about this Mr. Everest, after whom Mount Everest is named. So Everest was the link who was influenced by Navya Nyaya, which was at that time developing in West Bengal area, isn't it? So in
Okay.
that area it was developing, and then it got some ideas got they say some ideas got exported to the two people who are now credited for this modern computing and all. So you should know that. If our Linux
Yes.
you not only this, I mean to say, from each school of thought, what can be an inferential link between its contribution and material science? You should see that. Try to see that. अच्छा लगेगा. You should
Yes,
be
sir.
prepared. अच्छा,
Yes, sir.
शंकर says कि सिर्फ जो है Brahma is only Satyam, Jagat is Mithya. So is it right to interpret it this way that Brahma is only Brahma is truly existent, and everything else that we see, this mobile phone that I'm holding in front of me, this piano against him, which I'm leaning, whatever I'm seeing is actually non-existent. Is this the
Yes, sir.
interpretation?
Sir, this is not the right interpretation because Brahma Satya Jagan Mithya means that Brahma is the ultimate truth. So the definition of truth here is different. It means that what is which one is having permanent existence. So, like the Maya, the phone and everything is perishable. The Brahma is non-perishable and that is permanent. Everything else is temporary. So temporary things are known as illusions and Maya because they are time bound. They tend to perish. That's what Shankaracharya ji want to say through that. That the
Is
ultimate
it
only
about
truth
their
permanent.
perishability or durability, or is it about the nature of their reality? When we
Sir,
say mithya,
yes, sir. I
it is
use
not
the
what it
simple
is,
terms for
isn't it?
that. Yes, true, sir.
All right, all right. And what is considered as sad? Sat. What is sat? How is it different from satya?
Sir, Satya is truth. It can be a value also. But when they talk about Sat, no, Sat, Brahma is Sat. That means that it is having that permanent existence which we were just talking about.
Not
The
permanent, eternal.
Yes.
Eternal is the word, isn't it? Eternal,
Okay,
perpetual.
okay. Okay, sir.
Permanent
Yes,
has a different connotation somehow. Okay,
yes,
you
sir.
still bind it within the limitations of time and space when you say permanent. So
Yes, sir.
time space ke beyond, then we say eternal or perpetual or something like that. Okay, beyond time and
Okay,
space.
sir.
Okay, okay, no problem.
Yes, sir.
Just little feeder there. Okay. So have you heard about Brihad Jataka?
Yes, sir.
Who's the author of that?
Sir, Acharya Varamihira.
All right, and which is the first authoritative commentary on that particular work.
Sir, sorry, sir, I'm not aware about the Tika and the writer.
You should know about this because this has marked a foundation. It is a foundation stone in how knowledge
Yes, sir,
system has
Gujrat.
started. Why it is called the melting pot of all world's astrology. Why Varamir is not only a simple astrologer or astronomer, he is considered as a redactor of world's global astrology. So it's
Yes,
a
sir.
beautiful thing, but I mean, you should at least know
Yes,
what
sir.
is the first. What is the
Yes.
difference between Vartik and Tika?
Sir, Vartik and Tika. Sir, Tika is the commentary on a particular original text. So, Tikas were meant to simplify the original text to explain it better, with the author's personal opinions also as to the original meaning of the author. And sir, regarding Vartikas, there were sutras used in the grammars. So, those were the main generalized principles. Apart from those sutras, this Vatsayan gave the Vartikas as the exceptions to those general rules.
Fine, fine. Tell me, uh, would you agree if I say that in philosophy somewhere you will have to take a side kind of thing? I mean, there are certain areas where two schools of thought do have ideological mismatches, if not contradictions, isn't it? So,
Yes,
is
sir.
it possible for someone to actually write commentaries or vartikas on all six philosophies with the same honesty? Is it possible?
Sir, I feel that there are fundamental differences to the same thing because someone says that there are two and the other one says there is only one. So there can't be the right mindset while writing the commentaries to anyone. But one thing can be there if you are not taking sides and you are just simplifying the language. At that time, if the author has it, only to do with the language, then commentary on each and every philosophy can be written when you are not involved in that philosophy. So there can be certain people who can write. So otherwise, sir, it is not possible.
Has it ever happened
Sir,
that
I guess
someone has written on all six?
Shankaracharya ji wrote the Tikas, or Vachaspati Mishra has also written some
Absolutely.
Tikas.
Absolutely. Vachaspati Mishra is the answer. But whose
Yes, sir.
disciple was he?
What, sir?
Vachaspati Mishra was disciple of which renowned scholar?
Sir, I'm forgetting the chronology. Some Mandan Mishra was,
Mandan
Acharya
Mishra ji.
was also.
Mandan
Yes.
Mishra ji. So even after the debate, the consequences of the debate between Shankar and Vachaspati ji, Shankar and Mandan Mishra ji, Vachaspati Mishra, who was otherwise a disciple of Mandan Mishra, he chose to write even on Advait. And very few people know that even Mandan Mishra ji was an authority on Advait. I learnt it from my Guruji. He told me, informed me. So, because you have chosen that particular area as area of interest,
Yes,
so these
sir.
small things you should, because this is the most debated part, isn't it? The most talked about
Yes,
thing.
sir.
ये डिबेट
Yes,
हुआ था
sir.
वो डिबेट हुआ था थोड़ा बहुत highlighted items के बारे में जानना चाहिए. Okay, let's move ahead to more
Sure, sir.
questions. I heard many a times a reference to some Kaumudi thing, Laghu Siddhant Kaumudi, Dirgha Siddhant Kaumudi, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
What is the meaning of Kaumudi?
Sir, comedy is related to the light of the moon also. So Kumud and Kaumudi. So it means that just like the moonlight is spreaded all across the world, and that's not like the sunlight. That's like doable. That's pleasant to our bodies. So Sar Siddhant Kaumudi, we want to say that we are writing something pleasant because the grammar is full of rules. But still, when they say that it is Siddhant Kaumudi, it means that you will be pleased by the reading of the grammar there too.
What is, so according to you, when we talk about Maheshwara Sutrani, then what is the best thing that you like about it? Why Panini is so much revered for his work?
Sir, like
How he
even
made it easy for us to remember things.
yes, sir. Sir, Maheshwar Sutras are short, firstly, and those sutras have a rhyme scheme. You just keep reciting them for few times, and you get to learn that easily. But in while in other languages, when it comes to the varnas or the letters, you have a simple longer chronology. Like in English, there are simple 26 letters you need to learn. So that's a long, huge line. But then also, if an English teacher is there, she will be teaching or he will be teaching it like A, B, C, D, that much only. So that means for the better learning, you need to make it short into 4 or 5 letters. That has already been done in the grammar by Panini ji. That in Maheshwar Sutras, it is like I, un. That's what. So you can learn it.
If I say Hal, what do I
Yes,
mean?
sir. Sir, it means the all Vyanjan Varnas there too.
Exactly. That is the real
Yes, sir.
contribution, isn't it? That's
Yes, sir.
coding. That coding is the real
Yes,
contribution.
sir.
One. Number two, does it also have any anatomical connection to a human throat, a sound production system?
Yes, sir. There is Ucharan
Exactly.
Sthanani also. Yes, sir.
Yes. These are important contributions. Okay. Now, second last is how do you actually, because you have mentioned Phalit Jyotishi, Phalit Jyotish, so I'm not able to help but ask, how do you reconcile these three concepts of Indic thought process? Number one, Phalit Jyotish. Number two, free will. And number three, Karman, the Siddhant of Karman. How do they reconcile?
Okay. Sir, we have some ironical situation when it comes to that. Okay, we have the karma in our hands, and we also say that Daivam Falati Sarvatra, which means that the luck is everywhere. So, in my personal opinion and in my personal life also, how do I strike the right balance? Is that the luck means the environment we are getting. Uh, I was not given the chance to decide. I'll be born to my parents in India at a particular place. I could have been born in America also. That was not my choice. So Devam is our environment, the people we get, because we don't tend to choose them, our parents and everything which come across to us. But the karma is always in our hands that we are given a situation by that luck and by that daiva, and but we are to decide how to react to that particular situation, what to do in that particular situation, what to do with that particular environment is what our karma
Does this entire explanation apply to non-human animals as well? Does astrology Phalit Jyotish applies to animals also?
is. Sir, generally we talk about the human jatakas only because the divisions have been done in that regard solely.
But then for a
Because
doctrine to work and a doctrine to be accepted, it must
yes,
work.
sir.
The fundamental principles of that doctrine must work at least seemingly well for on the
Yes,
same
sir.
principle, isn't it?
Yes, sir. Sir, that may work, but we have not the evidences yet. The work can also be done. For that,
Have you explored this area?
no, sir, not yet.
Isn't it best to say that I need more study on this?
Yes, sir.
Exactly. Okay. Okay, final question. Are there any intrinsic references or evidences within the Vedas which can help as corroboration to their antiquity?
Uh, Sorry, sir. I need to read more to answer this question.
All right. So how do we say it is so many years old and all that? There has to be something. For example, in Vedas, is there a mention of the river Saraswati somewhere?
Sir, I haven't read Vedas in actual,
Oh,
so I'm not
fine.
able to collect.
All right.
Yes,
But as a part of Indic knowledge system, have a general idea of what is going on, what debates
yes,
are
sir.
going on, okay, with respect to
Yes,
their
sir.
antiquity, because Max Muller Sahab says At most, it can be 1500 BC. Then there are astronomical references and hydrological references to river Saraswati flowing in its aura, full aura. But we know that it started declining at least 5,000, 6,000 years ago and all like that. So Vedas have to be
Yes, sir.
before the sacred. These debates are going on. There are no conclusions, of course. This is a
Yes, sir.
scholarly pursuit. So इनके बारे में जानना चाहिए. And last question, not other than this, I just think I should ask you. Name three attributes of yours about which we should get convinced and select you as an administrator or as a public servant.
Sir, the communication skills, confidence, and calmness, I would say.
Do you think empathy is necessary for public services?
Yes, sir, it is must.
And it is not in your top three. Empathy towards the
Sir,
people who are proposing to serve.
yes. Sir, I told any three and not the top three.
Did I ask any three?
Sir, you
Yes,
said
maybe.
three of them.
Okay.
Okay, sir.
But even if I ask any three, isn't it logical that you should name only the top three?
Yes, true, sir. But I was making a rhyme scheme on C. I'll work on this, sir.
Exactly. Okay.
Actually,
Fine, fine. That will be all from my side.
Sure, sir. Thank you, sir.
Gujrat, hello. These traits are
Yes.
perfect. What you said is perfect. You should stick to it. Any other empathy you can bring about, include it in whatever calmness or confidence or whatever, But what you spelt is my reading of the interview is these three traits would fit perfectly into you.
Yes, sir. Sir, you are not audible to me if someone is speaking.
Viren?
Yes.
Viren? I don't know what the rest have.
Yeah. Hello. Yeah. Hello.
Yeah.
Yes.
Carry on.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Hello.
Yes, sir, you are
Hello.
audible.
Yeah. Raj.
No,
Hello.
all perfect from my side, Viren. Everything good.
Yes. Yes.
What I
Yeah.
was saying is those qualities, what she's talking about is actually the qualities she should try to use and encompass everything in those.
Okay.
Communication, confidence, and calmness. That's what the three you
Okay.
said.
Okay.
Perfect.
Some observation I have, Raj. She has
Yeah,
a bit
carry on.
fast while speaking when you are asking questions. We have noticed this. We have noticed this problem to her when he started the classes. She's speaking too fast, too fast. We have tried to control a lot, but today when he was asking, she was very fast again. When Shaur was asking the question, she was again fast. So I think one of the issue on which she needs to work on is to have a pace slow. What's your opinion? Hello? Hello? आवाज आ
Yes,
रही
sir,
मेरी?
you are audible. Yes, sir, you are audible. So, is this a question for me?
Shivani,
Yes, sir.
Beta, I think you have done exceedingly well, even in moderating your pace. So, sir is right. Still, there is some gunjaish, as we call it. There is a
Hello?
scope for
Yes, sir.
improvement, but you have done very well. Now, I felt conversing with you. I understood it in one go. I didn't have to forcefully apply my mind as to what you are saying or to be extra attentive or agile to try to catch. Well, first time it was there, you are too fast. But now I think you
Yes,
are
sir.
heading in the right direction. So on that, a little bit of more practice, a little
Yes,
bit
sir.
of tonation when you speak, that you mean it. What you are saying, you mean it. That kind of feeling
Yes, sir.
starts coming. You have done very well, very very well.
Thank you,
I
sir.
will say. By my only respectful submission is this that and it is of course very personal because I believe anybody who appears for public service and somehow misses out to mention empathy, even if as a part of other qualities as a subset. I
Yes,
think
sir.
that will not adversely affect you in terms of marking, but
Yes,
it
sir.
will leave. If I was the panelist, which I am today, it will leave a point of regret and disappointment. यार
Okay,
इसमें
sir.
इतनी अच्छी लड़की है इसमें नथिंग एडवर्स बट इट विल बेसिक चीज नहीं समझ रही है कि इम्पैथी के बिना कॉन्फिडेंट और काम रहोगी तो कोल्ड ब्लडेड लगेगी।
Yes, sir.
कॉन्फिडेंट और काम लोग तो बदमाश लोग भी होते हैं, कॉन्फिडेंट भी होते हैं, काम भी होते हैं, लेकिन एम्पैथी रहती है तो वही गुड माना जाता है। पब्लिक चिल्ला रही है, आप कॉन्फिडेंट और काम बने हुए हैं तो बने रहिए। दैट्स माय व्यू।
Okay,
Two,
sir.
three things I want to highlight, Shivani.
Yes, sir.
One, your speed pace, which I'm telling you since day one, I need a more practice on this. If we
Yes,
speak
sir.
slow, there's two, three advantages with yourself. One, you are able to explain and communicate better. Your communication is your power. Point number
Yes,
two,
sir.
your you will give the lot of you will cut down the more questions. If you are having some questions in the good way to explain, you can explain better way. Third, your question of the Rajgopal Panch Parmeshwar was very good, but your answer on the horoscope, when I was asking ki how you rate yourself about your life partner, you was not able to answer good way, and you have taken the horoscope in such a limit that it was going towards a very much traditional way. You are
Okay, sir.
trying to discard the scientific temper also. These two things I think, otherwise knowledge is good. In the questions of the Archana, you was very good. The JK Mishra question was a bit on the Sanskrit literature, being you need to brush it on.
Yes,
And I think the no problem. Your selection has no problem. Only I want to see what rank you are going to get. Your selection has no problem. Just work on these three issues. Raj,
sir. Okay.
anything more? Rajgopal? I think Shivani, it's fine, and you enjoy the time. Just practice more, and
Yes, sir.
best of luck. Okay, bye,
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you,
bye,
ma'am.
bye, bye, bye.
So can I leave now?